Shamima Begum, UK teen who joined ISIS. Oh shoot, I said it. ISIS.
Who cares? This we're demonetized.
No, we're not. Not on here.
Not on this
that's
personal
right.
channel.
Wow.
Not
Okay.
allowed to return home to fight for citizenship. So this actually surprised me that we are allowed to go live on Twitch right now with ISIS in the title. Usually Twitch would be too sensitive about letting us start.
Yes.
Interesting.
So why did
Anyways.
you put it in the title? Okay, it's okay.
Because that's the first news. So on March 12th, the United Kingdom Supreme Court ruled that quote-unquote ISIS bride, we say ISIS because YouTube algorithm be finicky, Shamima Begum will not be granted permission to come back to the UK to appeal in court for her UK citizenship. For those who don't know, in 2015, Shamima left the UK for Syria, along with her two school friends to join ISIS as like 15 years old, around that age. Later in 2019, her citizenship was stripped when she was found in a northern Syrian refugee camp. In 2020, the UK Court of Appeals ruled that Shamima would be allowed to return to the UK to fight the case that revoked her citizenship, which, by the way, rendered her essentially stateless. Lord Robert Reid, the president of the Supreme Court, said that the Court of Appeals made 4 errors when it permitted Shamima to carry out her appeal. The Supreme Court ruled that Begum will be allowed to appeal against her citizenship being revoked only when her participation does not compromise public safety. Human rights campaigners and legal experts have heavily criticized the court's decision to withdraw Shamima's citizenship. Hey guys, before we get back to that video, YouTube has fully demonetized our channel for supposedly hateful and harmful conduct, without telling us what we did wrong. If we get to 1,000 patrons, we will be able to keep paying all our team, our editors, our artists, without ever having to worry about monetization again, which would be amazing. Yay! So please support Atheist Republic on Patreon. Link in the description below.
I know this is an unpopular position of mine, given that we have an anti-Islamic atheist channel here. And I know people like, oh, Armin, you're so soft on this. I thought you were, very firebrand atheist. I don't care. You people like, oh, so many people have come at me for this position of mine. The more I look into it, the more I'm convinced that my position is right, and all of you are wrong. This was a bad idea. Revoking, if somebody joined a group and did criminal stuff, you bring them, you put them on trial, you punish them for the crimes that they committed. Revoking citizenship is just like devaluing the meaning of what it means to be a citizen. Like, the idea of people think like, oh, this is so good because she deserves it and all. You're basically undermining what it means to be a UK citizen, right? People would say, oh, once you do certain crimes, then your rights go out the window. No, you keep your rights, but you still get punished. Like, so the understanding is that human rights are for everybody, including the worst of all people, right? What your human rights gives you, like under enlightened countries like the United Kingdoms, are supposed to give you freedom and mobility, and safety from any punishment, given that you don't commit certain crimes. And then once you commit certain crimes, you get to defend yourself. Given that you're a citizen of that country, you have some rights to represent yourself, and then to a trial. And once you are proven to be guilty, your rights does not mean that you're not going to get punished for those crimes, but you still have rights. Even though when you get punished, you're not going to get unusual treatment. The punishment is not going to be cruel and unusual. All of that will stay there. It doesn't mean that so we already have that in the system, that no matter, the crimes, you commit a crime and you get punished for it. It's not you commit a crime and your rights go away. Your rights stay there and you still get punished for it. Like this idea of your citizenship being revoked because your crime was too, like, what else are you going to, like, so you're saying this lady, her crime was too bad, so we're going to revoke her citizenship, right? So what about, like, so what else are we going to revoke citizenship for, like in the UK? If somebody like commits, murder, is that not going to, I mean, this woman, she didn't herself commit murder, right? She just, like, so she joined a very problematic group. Are we now, so if somebody in the UK commits murder, are you going to revoke their citizenship? Why not, right? This is insane. Like, people think like this is justified because this is a unique situation. This is like, oh, because she's going to be unsafe to UK citizens. How is she going to be unsafe? How is she going to cause security issues? If she's guilty, she's going to go to jail. She's going to be under watch. She's going to come and she could be interviewed for better security measures. She could be studied. She could be analyzed psychologically. There's so many benefits in having her in prison in the UK for her crimes, getting punished, and also under watch for security reason, and also for intelligence agency to have access to a lot more information going forward. This is insane. Like, revoking someone's citizenship because the crime was too bad. Like, what? Like, you completely the entire country's citizenship has been devalued because UK citizens are afraid of one woman that is not going to be able to cause harm to anybody else. But go on. Who wants to go first?
Their intelligence agencies say that she prepared suicide bombers. That she stitched them into explosive vests. Okay, and that she was also involved in working for the ISIS morality police. In the various communities that she was a part of. So there's a lot that goes in.
Interviews that I believe there were, on that note, just to add, there were some interviews that she gave where she didn't seem to renounce that ideology.
She said that that Armin, this isn't a refutation of what you're saying. I'm just giving more context.
I know. I'm just saying that your citizenship is doesn't go away depending on the severity of the crimes you commit. Keeping your citizenship still does mean that you get punished according to the crimes you committed, right? It doesn't, like, the idea of citizenship just being able to be taken away is like throwing out the baby. Like, it's just like everything about what it means to be a UK citizen is now under question because of people's fear-mongering and hate over one person that could have been under security watch, could have been in prison. Like, her going back to UK was not going to be a security issue for anyone in the UK.
Yeah, but I was just giving more details. So
I didn't interrupt you. So Rivka interrupted you.
Then you interrupted the interrupt.
Well, I get to do that because misogyny.
It's your culture.
Oh yes, it's my culture. All right, go on.
So Ghost Bunny is asking, did she marry into ISIS or did she just go and join? Also, if that's all she did, is it possible that she was brainwashed into this by a pretty religious text? It shouldn't revoke her citizenship, though. So it's she did marry an ISIS militant who is now incarcerated. She had 3 children by him, all of whom have died in Syria, I believe. I don't know if she was already engaged to him while she headed there. But she joined with she went with 2 other girls when she was 15, and those 2 other girls died. They were killed in
all right.
By bomb drone strikes.
Okay, so Kimberly saying, can you promise that though, that she's not going to be a security threat? No, Kimberly, I can't. So, and I also, let's do that with everybody then in UK. Everybody, like, if somebody commits murder, revoke their citizenship, throw them away. If somebody steals, if somebody harasses people, I can't promise that, if you punish them, if somebody commits murder in the UK and they're a UK citizen, instead of like using their, getting them to come to court and punish them, just revoke everyone's citizenship. Because who knows, maybe if they're still in the UK, I can't promise that they're not going to commit murder again. Just revoke people's citizenship. Why not? Just go left and right, and everybody that is could potentially somehow be a security threat, just revoke everyone's citizenship. Just see guys, you don't understand what this means to the core. What this whole idea of revoking citizenship, what does it do to the core meaning of what it means to be a UK citizen? You're basically redefining your entire citizenship. You're changing what your country, the values and your entire country has been founded upon from the very core, just because one woman you're afraid of one woman. You can't be like, hey, maybe we should maybe add more security and put this, hey, maybe there's other ways you could fix the fear that you have about the security issues with one woman, rather than completely changing all the values that this country has been founded upon.
Well, and one thing we're not noting is that this is actually a violation of the United Nations. I can't remember what specific convention or agreement or whatever, but rendering someone stateless is I believe it's not illegal because the UN doesn't enforce law, but she was rendered stateless, which in the UK did this because they believed that she had a precedent of being able to get a Bangladeshi citizenship because that's where her parents are from. However, her ability to get a Bangladeshi citizenship was removed when she became involved with a terrorist group. That is not according to Bangladesh's laws. They revoke it, or your ability to get that.
We say terrorist because we're worried that using the T word might get us demonetized here as well. Okay.
But I have some. Go ahead, Rivka.
So I have a couple things to say. I think to your point, Armin, so the idea that citizenship can now be conditional is, for most people, probably a little bit anathema to their understanding of what it means to be a citizen of the country. And also, it's the fact that people have rights regardless of who they are, what they do, is some of the foundation of British common law, that you have certain rights. You also, and especially in the United States, which we use British common law, that you can't convict somebody on something they might do or they haven't yet done, so to speak. So that's like a thought crime situation. And so all of this is pretty interesting, that all of a sudden citizenship is now conditional. With regard to bringing her back, and, she did this terrible thing, so there's sort of this we have to punish her somehow. That also takes away another huge part of jurisprudence, which is judges. That's what it means to be a judge. That they can, because of the extenuating circumstance, they could give her a more harsh sentence. They could say that she has to be in solitary so many hours a day, or she can't access newspapers or whatever. That's what judges do also. So when you take that away, you're undermining jurisprudence as well. Right. I do understand the emotion behind it because people are upset. And I also understand that they don't want to pay as taxpayers for
I'm sorry, she's a citizen.
I know, but that's something that people have to understand. That's happening with all kinds of other things too. But I know that was like some things I heard people express. So, but taking away... Yeah, that's why I was saying it happens with lots of
I know. This is not a response to you, Rivka. You're right, but this is a response to them. Taxpayer money has to go towards jurisprudence for people who commit crimes. I'm sorry. Oh wow, we're paying taxpayer money for putting people on trial who are citizens of our country. You want to save money by not doing that, by kicking them out? And guys, you understand?
They did it before.
What do you mean?
I mean, like, America and Australia was criminal colonies.
What? Yeah, okay.
So they
that goes-
deported criminals. But I wanted to make another point about the Bangladeshi thing. There's a difference between being a citizen and having it being conditional upon certain behavior, or not being a citizen of a country and then applying to come. That's the point where they can say, look, you're not a citizen here, so we don't have to accept you based on your criminal history. So I just wanted to clear that up in case some people were like, well, if Bangladesh says she's not allowed to come, that's different.
I don't think people from UK even understand how significant this is. The cost that this is going to do. United Kingdom is one of the main countries that is the foundations of Enlightenment values, which became the role model for the rest of the goddamn planet, right? And you guys are basically throwing these out the window left and right for the sake of an extra security from one woman that you're not going to get the extra security. It's not even going to give you that security. But even if it did, you guys, the price that you're paying for undermining the foundations of the Enlightenment values that your entire country became superior for because of them, and because of other countries who followed your model, you and France's model, every other country that followed these models became better countries. And this is what you lose when you throw away rights left and right. This is the most cliche way of how countries and how people lost their rights for the sake of securities. Like, you guys are the people like, oh my gosh, you might like do this and that. You have no idea how cliche and how repetitive this is, like how many times this has happened where people were like, boo, and give me your rights, they're coming for you, for me to give you safety, guys. And another thing that this is how why people need to read history. This is how they take away your rights, okay? By showing you the worst of people. Guys, I always say human rights are only human rights if they protect the worst humans. Free speech is the only free speech if it protects the worst kind of speech, okay? This is a test. Human rights doesn't need defending if it's only good people, because everybody could fall in line in defending the human rights of good people, right? This is when you know if you're on the side of human rights. This is when they come and try to take your human rights away, they're not going to challenge you by taking away the human rights of people that you could be sympathetic to. They come and take away the human rights by coming up with examples of people that you can't sympathize with, that are horrible people. That's how they challenge your human rights. This is when you know that you need to stay strong when it comes to defending human rights. And again, a lot of people don't understand, when you defend the human rights of the worst kind of people, you're not defending those people as good people. That's why I feel like, well, Armin, like, you're defending this horrible human being who joined this horrible group. Like, no, I'm not. I'm defending the human rights for the worst people. That's what I acknowledge that these are not good people. That's why I'm trying to defend their human rights, because other people don't do that because they're garbage people, right? Because they're garbage people, it's not very, pleasing, and it's not very popular to come defend their human rights. And that's when you have to step up, because other people won't. Susanna.
Well, I wanted to follow up on Rivka's point about the difference between, and here's what's really important. She is born in the UK. She is a native English woman, okay? So a lot of people are, like, when you're trying to gain citizenship of a country, yes, you do have to have conditions to be able to gain the rights of that citizenship. That's natural. But she was born in the UK. And so some of the discourse I've seen about this is people are talking about accusations of racism behind this. They're like, we don't revoke citizens for white boys who are neo-Yazis. We say Yazis because the YouTube algorithm in the UK. So they're trying to draw a comparison there and saying, like, well, are we going to start doing this for other people? Or is this because she's like a second generation immigrant? You know, like what's with the differential treatment? Is this our standard now? Are we now going to treat, you know, other types of extremism from native citizens the same way?
Okay.
I think that might be different and complicated by the fact she actually left the country to do this. But I do also want to show some interesting photos of her.
Just before you do that, I just want to mention that I'm A-OK for not giving citizenship or even residentship to people with this background. Okay,
of course,
definitely. Like, yeah. But once they have it, now you have given them. They have every right. Okay, here's how people. I'm telling you, people have no idea what we're saying. Kimberly's saying she joined the Terry group. I'm not exactly sure how you can expect people to not slightly assume that it would be an issue of her living in a society with an entire different set of. Kimberly, you are not even paying attention to anything we're saying. You completely missed every single point that we have brought up. Has flied over your head completely. You're not. I don't know if you're even listening. Okay, we're saying the solution to this security issue is not to undermine every single what it means to be a UK citizen and the Enlightenment values that your country is dependent. It's like, hey, we have bugs in the house. Oh, okay, no, I shouldn't use that because people think I'm dehumanizing. Oh, I don't know, like there's something wrong with the house. Burn the whole house down. That's what you guys are doing instead of fixing it. There's infinite number of other solutions to this concern that you're bringing up other than revoking a citizenship based on the level of crime somebody has committed. That is definitely not the answer. I am so sure that this is not the answer. And the fact that you're like, oh, you think this shouldn't be a concern? That means that you're not even paying attention closely to anything we're saying.
It's not even an expectation that we think that other people shouldn't be concerned.
Yeah,
no, I'm concerned.
When we're like, oh yeah, guys, don't be concerned about somebody. Like, when did we say, like, don't be concerned? When did we say don't be concerned? God damn it. You guys don't know how to listen. And no, I will not calm down. And no, I will not chill. Okay, Susie, go ahead.
That's Rivka.
So, also, you were talking about security, and then I wanted to make a point based on some of the things that the foreign minister or whomever, I can't remember, in the UK said that she could come back and face, the court, the writ of habeas corpus, bring the body to the court, that's what it means. When the security situation is resolved. And that's a trick that lots of governments do to never actually make a decision and to keep people in a state of limbo forever. Because you can always say, well, the security situation's not resolved as soon as we have 100% certainty, or as soon as, so it's constantly kicking the can. And there's plenty of groups of people who are supposed to vote on things, UN, for example, I was thinking about in Western Sahara, have been waiting to vote on things for 30 years because they keep saying, well, as soon as the security situation is resolved. So this is, I feel like, in my opinion, very bad because they're not making a stand one way or the other. So if you really believe this, then you should be saying it and you should be making the case for it, whether it's right or not. But by doing this, it's a total cop-out and it just leaves this huge vacuous hole. And then I wanted to make one other point about the idea of someone who is a born citizen. This has been conferred upon her. She is a citizen of the UK. So since there doesn't seem to be conditions on that, and when you're defending that, you're not defending it for all these bad people. You're defending these rights for yourself, because this is what becomes a slippery slope. If you can't grant human rights to people that you don't like, then what's the guarantee that the people that you like are going to be in power next week? Now you could be the person that people don't like. And I'm not trying to compare an average person's behavior with hers, but this is what Armin's talking about when he's talking about the erosion process.
Right. But even, I mean,
and the last thing I just wanted to say is that see, now I forgot, but that's the erosion process you're talking about, that you start losing rights in all kinds of other ways. It becomes this slippery slope then. And I have one more thing, but now I can't remember what it was.
Right, but even if it
Thanks
doesn't
a
come,
lot, Armin.
you're welcome. Even if it doesn't come to you directly, what people have to understand is that the reason why some countries are better than other countries is because of a certain set of values, right? So which is the foundations of those countries that made those countries perform better, right? So even if they don't come to you, like, I'm not saying, oh, they're going to come and revoke your citizenship tomorrow if you don't defend this person, right? You probably will never get even close to that, right? But it's just these are if you just keep attacking the foundations that made some countries better than others, you're going to pay for it later, like in some other way, right? That eventually is going to lead to people being more okay with certain values, certain rights to be questioned, right? And so we're seeing that in UK and more than other places, more than other enlightened countries already. So that's my fear. Suze, you wanted to show something?
Oh, I mean, I was already showing the pictures.
I remembered what I was going to say.
Go ahead.
So Armin was making the comment that when you say, I think that the citizenship shouldn't be conditional and this was the wrong move, you're not in any way defending the person's actions. You're defending the concept of citizenship.
Right.
And so it's the same idea when a person is entitled to a legal defense, because they have certain rights. That doesn't mean that you agree with them or you like them as a person. None of that has to be one and the same thing in any way.
Right. Okay. So and also just one last point because we spent too much time on this. Some people say she doesn't represent our values. Like some people in the live chat were saying, like, oh, she doesn't deserve to be a UK citizen because she doesn't represent our values. I have
you're not representing your values. No, you.
Why did you steal that line from me? That was what I was gonna say.
Sorry,
I'm just kidding. Yes, but yeah, exactly as she just said, because she noticed. Okay, so yeah, so you think this woman doesn't represent UK values? You, the person that thinks that our rights are dependent on how big the crime is, you don't even understand what UK values are, right? So not only you as a person who's saying this woman doesn't represent our values, which I agree with you, she doesn't represent United Kingdom values, but you are a threat to the foundations of the values of the United Kingdom more than this woman, right? Because she is, at the edges, right? Representing a fringe group in the UK. You are going at the values of the United Kingdom at its very core. You are becoming a greater monster than the one that you're trying to defeat. You do not represent the values of United Kingdom. Rivka.
I have one last thing to say to your point. You are what you do. You can say anything you want, but if you're not willing to act upon your values or your ethics, then on some level, then it's pretty meaningless. So how you represent your values is by living them, acting them out, and making them a living organism that represents everybody, regardless of how much you disagree with her ideology or how much you think that she's a terrible person or whomever. So the way you represent your values is by holding to those values, which say that citizenship is not conditional on certain behaviors or certain actions. I mean, you can say a crime is so horrible that you could be put to death. The state does that, not necessarily whether I agree with it or not, but they have set those limits. But at no point are they saying we're taking away your existence as an American or a Brit or whatever.
Hey guys, if you're a fan of blasphemy and sexy Kali, like me, then that means that you probably want more blasphemous art. Well, I have good news for you. If you subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below, then you get a free booklet of some of the tastiest blasphemous art available today. So, if you want some of this delicious blasphemy, and we're so generous that we update it for you guys weekly for free, all you have to do is sign up for our newsletter below. You can also go to blasphemousart.com/ebook. That's blasphemousart.com/ebook. Sign up with your email, and you get free gifts of this tasty blasphemy. What could be better? So make sure you sign up. Link below.